1. Ignition.
What you know about this life? Yeah. Just relax, baby, get high. Yeah, you're on your way to the best night ever. No top on it, no top. Out with the stars.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching the Week 3 recap with special guest David Leonardo.
Hey, everyone. Always excited to join and give my thoughts in your fantasy league.
This is kind of a tradition now. David helped us last year, Week 3, and a lot of his points and advice were well taken for the season. So kind of a good time of the season to get some advice from somebody outside our league. So there's tis the season. So there's Andrew's October photo shoot. So October is upon us. So David will be blind ranking our teams as well as offering any advice that he can. Your birthday's next week, huh? On Tuesday?
Yeah, next Tuesday.
I'm 27, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, hopefully I get some fun, sexy pics for my girlfriend of like Andrew, what he's doing right here. That'd be a great little birthday present for me.
In that exact same suit. I actually have
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I was like, you want to ship it up, Michael. We'll reuse it.
All right, so first up, we're going to go through Nick Finley's team. So Nick got 5th place last year. His keepers were Aaron Rodgers, let's see, Dalvin Cook, Tyreek Hill, and Antonio Gibson. So everybody else he kind of drafted, nobody's been traded for. He picked up at Wentz, and that's kind of what I can give you for his team.
Yeah, no idea how he's picking up wins because I'm sitting on Chase Edmonds too, and that's been just a terrible pick for me so far, other than his 2 touchdowns last week.
Yeah.
And Mark Andrews, though, he's going off, so I respect that. Who else you got? Rashad Bateman, love him, other than his fumble last week. So I'm all over this team. I don't know why you're sitting on Zach Wilson. That seems like maybe you could find a better third-string quarterback. Although it's probably a 2 QB league, so I'm sure you're kind of decimated.
Yep. Yeah, 2 QB.
No IR? There is IR, Michael.
There is IR, but right now, like for QB depth at this point, there's only 5 QBs like out there that you can pick up. Or there's 7, but it's Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, like Trubisky. So it's like pretty low with the 2 QB league.
Okay. So you're banking on potential there with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't even see Carson Wentz. You can drop him. That's ass. What's the darkest night on Tyreek Hill? Is that an edit or is that like you guys?
No, you can you can nickname people, but that darkest night came from Nick Hill when he owned Tyreek, like
Nice.
because it follows the team.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you can see David Montgomery's still the rook.
Oh, it still says there. Okay. I didn't even see that one. I saw the Tyreek Hill and I kind of laughed at that. That was good. Maybe throw like an anti-vaxxer tag on Rodgers. You probably get some more good ones going for these guys. But I think pretty solid team. Interested to see how that Dalvin Cook injury affects him. I don't even know how many weeks he's out, but obviously if he's healthy, it's a pretty solid team for sure. I like the Drake London pick. Probably performing really well in terms of like the value you got him at.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. So we'll go. You got what you need for Nick?
Yeah, I took some notes. Honestly, my notes, I'll show them at the end. It's literally just players' names. So we'll see how this really helps me long term. Who knows?
All right, so next up we got Bobby. So Bobby kept Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. He his nickname is Overrated Bills Stack, so he kind of rocks with the Bills. Bobby also with his 3rd round draft pick this year, he took the Buffalo Bills defense, which was just blew everybody's mind. But turning out to be a good pick.
Yeah.
So he kept those 2, Josh Jacobs and Dak Prescott. Dak got hurt for him, so that was too bad.
Yeah.
But
I'm scared of Bobby's team once Dak's healthy. I would ride that straight hard. And it looks really good. Even if you take away just the Bills players alone, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, Aaron Jones, it's a pretty solid team, top to bottom. So I'm pretty impressed. Bobby, I'll give it to you. I love the Josh Allen hype train too.
Yeah, Josh Allen looks amazing, man. He's fun to watch.
He's such a likable guy. Such a likable guy.
Yeah. So he had the 3rd pick in our draft, took Devontae. Then he also had a 2nd first-round pick where he took Aaron Jones, and then he had the first pick in the second round, so he took Leonard Fournette. So he kind of like cemented that RB position, and I would say those guys are underperforming except for Aaron Jones's second week. But
yeah, and I also like the Damian Pierce from like a rookie standpoint. I think like he had a slow first week. I'm all over him on my league, so I'm just going to talk about players I have. So
yeah,
I'm a fan. These guys saw right back. I think Lenny bounced back too. I'm also a biased Bucks fan, so I'm all on this team right now. Cooper Rush probably the downside right now, but Dak Prescott coming back will be good. No QBs though in the bench, so
he kind of
hopefully everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, he rocks this too and just goes with it. And AJ Brown, big surprise this year. I mean, the Eagles' offense in general. My God.
No, he's been putting up points.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's good. And I think that Devontae Adams, Derek Carr connection, that's never going to go wasted. I think they've had like 20 straight games where they've thrown a touchdown to each other, like, or not had a touchdown reception from Devontae Adams from Derek Carr dating back to like when they went to college at Fresno State. So even when them look like shit, Devontae Adams still going to score.
But they come out like week one, he had like 17 or 18 targets. It was insane.
He did look really good week one. So I'm gonna guarantee he had a win week one just with the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and if he started Gabriel Davis and AJ Brown. Would be surprised if he won week two. Week three, I know Aaron Jones would have a great week, and I don't think Stephon Diggs had as big a week, so wouldn't be surprised if he took an L then. So I'm gonna guess 2-1 is my thought on Bobby.
All right, I like it. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on from Bobby. We'll go up to Connor. So you know how Connor is with his fantasy teams. He always thinks he's the best of the best. But so last year Connor got second. He had the most legendary team ever, I think, in terms of just like insane players, because he had Cooper Kupp and Debo last year, as well as like Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor. He had Hurts last year and Jackson, and Swift. So it was just crazy team, and it was unbelievable that he didn't win. But yeah, he kept Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Swift. And then he had 2 first-round picks. So he took Jalen Hurts, and then he took CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
He's
kind of been a disappointment. I've been like screaming at him. I know he finally caught a touchdown pass last week. Marquise Brown's been popping off. And I think he probably has QB1 and QB3 in scoring right now, if I had to guess. I think the only person in front of them is maybe Josh Allen, like number 2. So I'm sure he's been just riding the Lamar and Jalen Hurts train right now for these first 3 weeks. Similarly, no QB on the bench. I like the Allen Robinson play. I'm big on that too, but he hasn't done anything too crazy yet outside of like week 2. God, it's probably, I just can't help his ego anymore. Connor doesn't really need it. Kind of good that he lost last year, in my opinion. Hopefully he falls apart again this year. I wouldn't be against another championship run for him to lose one more time. That would probably be good. Just like knock him down a couple pegs. I love the homer pick with Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker. He's always going to do the Seahawks homer shit. I love that. That's not paying off well. They already won their week 1 Super Bowl, so I'm not expecting anything out of those guys the rest of the year. Honestly, if I had to guess, just with the quarterbacks alone, I would say he's also probably 2-1. Wondering like what it would have been week 1, depending on matchup. So 2-1, Jonathan Taylor is probably going to come on big for him soon. So be interested to see how it goes.
Derrick Henry
for that left. Yeah, Derrick Henry's been kind of slow too, right?
Yeah, he had a great week 3, but week 1 and 2 are like 7 and 8 points or whatever. So.
Yeah, I know Jonathan Taylor had a bad week 2 as well. I think he solid week 1 and then pretty solid last week. I think he had a touchdown, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Matt Ryan on that offense, man. They got shut out by the Jags. That was crazy.
I know. It's ridiculous. I'm all in on the Jags. Can't wait to see you guys Christian Kirk. I'll just go crazy for them. Just I love Christian Kirk.
Yeah, very nice. All right, you good on Connor?
Yeah, 2-1.
All right. So up next we got Jacob Myers.
Did he win last year?
No, he did not. Jacob, last year he got 7th. He almost lost last year.
Oh, really? He won the year before?
Yeah, he won back in 2020.
Okay.
Jacob in 2020 ran Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and they've legitimately carried. Jacob had an awesome 2019 draft that he kind of took Patty and Deshaun Watson and just have held them ever since. But Jacob had he kept
Did he
Patrick
put
Mahomes.
he used to keep her on Watson again?
Yeah, he did.
That's
Yeah,
a
he's held on to him for a long time now. So we got keepers for Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Um, hold on 1 second, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Hey, Sean. Hey, they haven't called me back and let me know that it's okay to go out there. Yeah, are you gonna come in tomorrow? Okay, cool. So we'll just do it tomorrow. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right. So keepers were Patrick Mahomes, Jefferson, um, Deshaun Watson, and geez, who the hell? And Nick Chubb. So those were his four keepers, and then he had the second pick this year, and he took Tom Brady, and then with his second round pick, he took ETN. So that second round pick screwed him so far, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts on Jacob's team?
Yeah. I mean, I like the Justin Jefferson exploded week 1. I'm sure Jacob's like, I'm gonna ride this all year. Like he's never gonna stop. And then he's kind of been like a letdown last 2 weeks. Jalen Waddle though has been huge. He got probably incredible value for wherever he picked him. I think Waddle's like scoring out as like a top 5 wide receiver at
Yeah,
least, if not
a lot of
higher.
people
Oh
slept on
no.
Waddle. I don't even think he started Waddle like the first 2 weeks because
Oh, did he not?
yeah, everybody's kind of low on Waddle, and then all of a sudden he's like going crazy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I I could see it. I definitely would say like his big issue looks like another solid running back. Like outside of Chubb, I don't think he started Khalil Herbert last week. There's no way he had the hindsight to do that, and he blew up. So maybe if he's lucky, Montgomery's like has a knack, then he just slows down the rest of the year, and Herbert keeps at that pace. So like Sanders hasn't been doing much. Edwards-Helaire has kind of been a letdown. He probably had a couple touchdowns week 1, where like that entire Chiefs team just looked unstoppable. Yeah. So honestly, I was looking at it. I gave him a 1-2 record, just assuming because that Patrick Mahomes explosion week 1, Justin Jefferson week 1. If he started Waddle, another explosion week 1, then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I feel like since then he's probably been towards the bottom end of scoring in your guys' league last 2 weeks. So I'm at 1-2.
all right, I like it. That all right. I just gotta keep throwing in these pictures. We
I love him. It's awesome.
Photoshop this one for February. So up next was Andrew. He unfortunately lost again last year, the fourth time in a row.
This
So
is
we're
here though. I feel it.
we're pulling for him. We're all pulling for him this year, and the team's looking not too bad. He did have really good keepers. He did have McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Javonte Williams, and he also kept Stafford. He did not have a first round pick, so the first pick he was able to get was almost like pick 15, and I think that was Mike Evans. So that was his first add to this team, and then he kind of just filled in where he could, but not too bad. And thoughts on Andrew?
Yeah. I feel like Eckler's been a disappointment, which sucks. So I feel like he hasn't scored over like 15 points. I don't know if you guys do a full PPR or half PPR. C-Mac's been at least looking better, but still kind of similarly slow. Christian Kirk, though, I'm all over it. I know George Kittle's been out the first 2 weeks, so it's good that he's back. Pookie Williams, Melvin Gordon 3's dad, and he has Melvin Gordon. Oh, I don't know. I think he just needs to get DeAndre Hopkins off the suspension list as fast as possible to maybe inject some life into this team. Bugs probably carried him 1 week when they had like that 25-point outburst against, was that the Saints? I can't remember who that was because they had like the pick 6 off Jameis Winston and all that. I don't know what to say. Like I'm nervous for him. To be honest, looking at this team, I'm a little nervous. I have it pegged as I'm hoping he squeaked out 1 win, so I have him at 1-2. Maybe he's going to surprise me, and we're going to see a couple more wins. Like fingers crossed, if he's 2-1, that'd be huge. What I would do if I was him. Hopefully George Kittle stays healthy and see if he can pedal off Dallas Goedert as a solid tight end, like he's top 10 tight end. See if he can get some good returns on it. Because I think there's maybe some need for additional talent here.
Yeah, he's gonna have trouble figuring out who to start. He has decent receivers in Evans, Kirk, Amari Cooper, and Johnson. But how are you picking who's playing each week? Because each of those guys can pop off for 8 catches and over 100 yards. But
I think if his running backs get right, he's set. we'll see. I could be wrong. Like this team, for all I know, like Trevor Lawrence had a nice couple of games too. Like I haven't really followed Javante Williams, so I don't know what he's that your Denver team is like shit, Mike. I don't know how they're 2-1. I don't know if any of those running backs have really popped off, so
No.
it could be solid. I mean, it looks better than Finley's team. I'll say that. So
All right, I like
like
it.
I'm higher than Finley right now in my power rankings.
All right, so that's everything for Andrew's team. So we'll kind of move on. So next we got Thomas Bay. So Thomas last year got sixth place. He kept Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray, Najee Harris, and then he traded for Cooper Kupp last year and then kept him. He did not have a first round pick because he used that pick to trade for Najee Harris. So his first pick in this draft was actually James Conner. And so, yeah, this is kind of what Thomas's team is looking like.
Yeah, I honestly looks solid. I mean, like James Robinson has played really well. I think when everyone was just assuming Travis Etienne was going to come in
So
and
he
take over that backfield.
did pick up James Robinson week 2 and has not started him in a game. So
Oh, okay.
I'll give you that much.
Just to know for the record, long term it looks good if it keeps going this pace. But for the record, yeah, I'm sure. Like, is he losing sleep over those rib injuries for Herbert? Like, he's put a lot of weight into this guy. He's been waiting on that baseball card. I'm surprised he doesn't have a jersey yet. I'm sure he's been like
He
trying
has a
to
jersey.
yeah, I'm sure he tried like when he was down in San Diego. I wonder if he took a trip up to try to find out where like Justin Herbert lives to see if he could get some like pube clippings out of the trash can or something so he could add to his shrine. I know he's been all over him. He looked human last week, so I'm sure Thomas is a little stressed and probably caught an L last week. But all in all, I think teams get like Cooper Kupp could carry anyone. Like that week 1 performance, I think he probably had over 20 points. Feel like he repeated it again week 2, like just popped off. So he could drag anyone there. And then Kyler Murray is always a rush. Even when they look like shit, he still finds a way to put up fantasy points, which is incredible. He's just so fucking small. I don't get it how he does it. It's impressive. Injury liability though. So hopefully if his quarterbacks stay healthy, that's probably his biggest concern because I don't know if he wants to roll out Marcus Mariota, but honestly, it seems like really solid. His probably weakest point is like wide receiver 2 and then running back 2. Although Devontae Smith's really nice and Mike Williams can always pop off. So
Yeah, he did.
yeah, for the solid team.
He did lose Elijah Mitchell. That was one of his picks, so he did lose him week 1. So that hurt his running back depth right off the bat.
Have him on IR.
He just straight up dropped him. So I don't even know.
Why would you do that? Why would you? He has no one in the IR slot, and he just dropped Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? That makes no sense.
I have no idea. I think at that point, maybe J.K. Dobbins was sitting there.
Okay.
Like that was a possibility.
Oh, maybe from the ACL. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But like you said, when Kyler went down last year, and he was trying to QB2, he had no chance. Like he just started like that's where his season fell apart. So
yeah, like those are two QBs that could easily be like 1 and 2 in terms of points scoring a week just because of what they do. Like they're incredible. But yeah, I mean Herbert like he takes so many shots in the backfield, even how big he is, and then Murray's always liable to get hurt with him just dancing around out there.
Yeah, and Herbert
James Conner, I don't know if how has James Conner been doing for him? I feel like that's maybe point of improvement is trying to figure out that RB2 situation for him.
I think everybody thought James Conner was going to be a lot better than he has been. He got hurt right off the bat, and then he actually left last game, only had like 5 points, so hasn't been great. T. Higgins has been all right. I think kind of could be good for him. But
I got him at 2-1. I think just because he's got to start playing Robinson. That's crazy that he hasn't put him unanimous winner, worst draft pick. Yeah, I mean, I feel like 2-1 just makes sense. Just like the QB play alone. Najee Harris is always solid, and then Cooper Kupp. Like that's enough to drag any team. And Ertz has even been putting up points too. I mean, he gets so many targets, so he's really banking on that Arizona connection, which maybe could pay off. I don't know if they keep it going all season. They're known to always just kind of fall apart the last 6 or 7 weeks. So I'm sure he's kind of holding his breath on that piece.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
2-1. We'll see. Low end 2-1 though, I think with the scoring point.
All right, I like it. So next we have my own team. So I kept Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Debo Samuel, which I traded for Connor, and I kept him. My fourth keeper this year was Travis Kelsey, but I traded him to Connor for 2 extra draft picks in this last year's draft, which I basically used on Kirk Cousins and Keenan Allen. So kind of those are my keepers. And then my first pick, I didn't have a first round pick. I was able to take, or I guess I was Kirk in the second round. But yeah.
I feel like your QBs are really not helping you unless you've been bouncing around too in that starting lineup over Russ. Like Russ hasn't done anything. So I hope you're not dying on that hill right now. Yeah. I mean, the Cousins too is just like he looks great some weeks and then just falls apart and like I
Yeah,
don't know. Like
he's had
yeah,
two
the
good
loyalty
weeks and one miserable week.
yeah. The loyalty to Justin Fields is interesting. Like I feel like he just needs to get dropped as soon as possible. Or tried to trade because 11 passes in like week 2. And I know week 1 was crappy weather, but like 11 passes week 2, he just looks abysmal. But other than that, like Saquon and Cordell Patterson's a great QB situation too. I think Debo is going to start coming on at some point. I feel like he started slow in terms of like what everyone expects from Debo Samuel. And maybe that's a product of having Trey Lance back there and like getting now comfortable having Jimmy G. So I think that from that standpoint, it's good. And then St. Brown's looks unbelievable to start this year. I think he's probably been up there with like Jalen Waddle in terms of like the best value you probably could have gotten from a wide receiver so far in terms of how they're just blowing off.
10th round.
Yeah.
And we keep
Yeah.
It's like the 14th round if you like counted the 4 keepers.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. So that's like incredible value too. Same with Darren Wall. I feel like he's been playing pretty well from like a tight end standpoint. Like he's still catching balls and he had a couple touchdowns. So that's good. Keenan Allen he got hurt week 1, right? So he's just getting back.
Nothing good. Yeah, he should play this week, but he had like great start. He had like 60 yards and 4 catches and then just went down. And that was in the second quarter. So
I like your wide receivers. I think that's definitely like the strength of the team. QBs are kind of the weak point right now. I think just with how Russ is playing, and who knows, hopefully like turns it on soon. You're not starting Tua tonight then?
I think I'm going to actually. I was just talking about that with Colin. I think I'm going to switch him in there. Probably, I think I'm going to stick with Russ against Las Vegas, but I just don't like Kirk. Where are they in London, or do you know where they're playing? Is that at 6?
Oh yeah, it's in London. Yeah, it's in London.
I have no idea.
He's with like those weird kickoff times.
Yeah.
Like that's the running bit. He can do anything outside of like a 10 a.m. West Coast kickoff time.
Like he plays great in his dome at home. And
yeah, exactly. At like a noon kickoff local. Yeah. Like that's what he does. But yeah, I think solid team, Mike. I mean, I think your quarterbacks hopefully are gonna turn around. I'd probably have you pegged as like I'm gonna say maybe 1 and 2 right now. Just if I'm just looking at the team, only because of your allegiance to Russell Wilson and that terrible week from Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't know if there's any way you could have bounced back from those 2 quarterbacks being that bad. So I'm gonna say 1 and 2 to start the year. Not that I think it's like a demise the rest of the year. I think Russ hopefully comes on, and then if Saquon continues at the form, like I'm sure he's great value as well.
Yeah, man.
And I'm not saying
I'm happy.
You're gonna have to get a jersey.
Yeah. Saquon's looks so good. He's like so explosive.
Yeah. I know he's actually bounced back. I have him in a couple of leagues and got him like I think in the second round we did like a snake on a 12 person. I got him second round. And I was like 3rd pick. So getting him that late's been incredible. He's like looked like a world beater so far. But yeah, I'm gonna say 1 and 2. We'll see.
All right. I like it. Okay, so finally our last team we're gonna go over is Cam Ferguson. That he was our 2021 champion. So here is that team. He kept Trey Lance. So that shows you he was very high on Trey Lance. That was one of his keepers. So he had the Bengals stack in Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase. So he kept those 3, and then his 4th keeper was Trey Lance. So right off the bat, obviously that stings. On top of that, his first pick this year was Alvin Kamara. So you know how that's gone. His second pick this year was Cam Akers.
And he started him week 1 where he had 0 points.
No, he actually did not start him that week.
Oh, okay.
And then his 3rd round pick was Kyle Pitts. So If that tells you anything about his team right now, yeah.
I'm gonna have to see if I got my numbers right because I'm kind of pegging this as an 0-3 team, but I gotta see if I added these up correctly.
I think you're right about there.
I feel bad. I mean, I feel like the team has very good potential with it in terms of like, yeah, I think that Cincinnati connection, like everyone would have been pumped to run that back if you were to say Joe Burrow, Mixon, and Chase. I think they've started kind of slow. They're probably okay week one from a point standpoint. Week two, was that the Pittsburgh game? No, that was week one, the Pittsburgh game, right? I
But
can't remember.
nothing great against Dallas. I mean, Joe Burrow is all right. Joe Mixon has been
Yeah, exactly. And then Goff has actually probably been a pleasant surprise in terms of like actually putting up a good amount of points, which I think is probably more than anyone would expect from that like Detroit standpoint. But yeah, Kamara was suspended. He probably missed the game. Like if he played Cam Akers at all, Cam Akers hasn't done really anything. Cortland Sutton's I've been high on Cortland Sutton. I think he had a lot of catches. Probably didn't do a ton week one. I think similarly he'll go as like Russ goes. So we'll see if that turns around. So I have it at 0-3. I got to take one hot take.
All right, I like it. I like it. All right,
I like the Pollard pick though.
that was a good pick for him. And Tony looks good, but he's not. He hasn't even played him this year, so it's like,
oh really?
Yeah, you get these bench players, and you're so stuck. I mean, if he has Joe Mixon and Alvin Kamara, he's like, I don't want to play Pollard over Sutton, or something.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get some of those guys in his lineup. And also, I did really like his Michael Thomas pick because he started
like that.
great. He got him in like the sixth round or something crazy. So
yeah, he's looked good. I think he's supposed to miss this week, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, I like the Garrett Wilson too. Honestly, I'm sure he got really good value at Garrett Wilson, and Wilson's looked super good. Honestly, in some of those weeks, like a Jets team, what Joe Flacco's throwing the ball like 50 times a game, just out of nowhere. It's just ridiculous.
All right, so power rankings. I guess you kind of got your scheduled out of what our rankings are, or what our but you want to just go 1 through 8?
Yeah, I'm basically going to use the records to rank them. So, yeah, I'll start with number 1. I think I have it Connor, either at 2-1, maybe at 3-0. Riding his QB connection. I think he's kind of scary too. If like Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry get right, like Lamar, Hurts, Taylor, Henry, like I don't even care who else you have on that team. Like that seems pretty scary in terms of all 4 of those people popping off. And then second, I have Bobby at number 2. I also have him at 2-1. I don't know if my numbers are gonna add up.
It's okay.
I said Connor's 2-1, maybe 2-3. Bobby, or sorry, 3-0. Bobby 2-1. I think similarly, he probably is going to pop off that Bills connection as long as they all stay healthy. I think he probably had one loss either last week or the week before, just with them not performing at the clip that they had started with, right? Like that week 1 and week 2 performance from them, it's pretty ridiculous. Like Diggs had 3 touchdowns week 2? Like there's no way he lost that week, just with Diggs alone. So I have him at 2-1 on the higher end of scoring. That's kind of why I'm putting him higher. After that, I have T-Bay at 3rd. T-Bay at 3rd. I got really lazy, so I did a lot of 2-1s. Similarly, I think like the Herbert Murray connection and Cup is like when it's on, could probably pop off. Like you have to be confident that Cup blew up, week 1 and 2. Looked a little human last week. So I'm sure he maybe slipped up one week, just given how Herbert performed. Murray didn't look great a couple of those weeks too. So I think 2-1 is my guess on him. So I have him at 3rd. 4th, I have. Do I have any more 2-1s? No. 4th, I have. I'm gonna regret this, but I have Jacob 4th. So I don't know if I believe. I have Jacob 4th. I think if Mahomes turns it around, he'll be solid. Brady's looked honestly
bad
really
bad for fantasy purposes. I mean, I think they're 2-1. They're 2-1, right?
Yeah.
And they almost
I feel bad. They haven't had wide receivers, so it's kind of just getting the receivers back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I could see him maybe even. That's why I kind of have him at 1 and 2. Maybe 4 is a little too high. I actually regret putting him at 4. I'm gonna move him down to 5.
I like it.
I'm gonna put Andrew because I got to get Andrew some props. We got to give him some positive motivation. Andrew, I have it 4, 1 and 2. So switching it, I think he's in a good spot. Hopefully, if Keller turns it around, We like Christian McCaffrey this year as long as he stays good. Christian Kirk. That's why he's getting the Christian Kirk bump. That's why I'm gonna put him up there because I'm so high on Christian Kirk. So I have Andrew at 4, Jacob at 5, and then I have Mr. Michael Sullivan at 6. That's roommate.
Yeah, no,
Freudian slip
I got
right
it.
there.
You got another Michael in your life. I get it.
Yeah. I have you at 1 and 2. I think you're probably the most dangerous from the 1 and 2 teams, just with the team you have. I think it's more of a get right situation with your quarterbacks. Like I feel like just your allegiance to Russ is probably dragging you down a little bit in the win loss right now. And then 7, I have Finley, who honestly I thought when I first saw his team, I'm gonna be so wrong with Finley, it's gonna suck, but I have him at 1 and 2. I just wasn't that like impressed with the team. I think like Tyreek Hill's great. Antonio Gibson is solid, but like that was his running back 1. It seems like Rodgers has not been performing at that high of a clip for what we expect from Aaron Rodgers. Like I'm sure his highest score on his team is Tyreek Hill, and the number 2 is Mark Andrews, which I don't know if that's like a great situation necessarily want to be in a 2 QB league. So I have him 7th at 1 and 2, and then last I have Cam at 0 and 3. This is more of him riding that Bengals connection, which I don't know has necessarily paid off. Kamara having the suspension, Akers putting up a 0-point week followed by like a 4-point week. Trey Lance IR. I don't feel like he has a lot going in his good for him right now. So that's why I have him at 0 and 3, but not too late to bounce back. So those are the power rankings. I'm interested to see how close I got.
Live by the Bengals stack and die by the Bengals stack.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
honestly, David, I'm super impressed because you're almost like right on.
Let's
You
go.
only got 1 out of all that off. So let me get this. I don't know how to get this bigger. Okay, so here's can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so here's our standings. Oh, get out of here, Eckler. All right, so Bobby's at 3-0 right now.
Oh,
You had Bobby and Connor flip, but
yeah.
just right on line with that. You were right on line with Andrew and Thomas. I think you just had them flipped as well. You dropped Jacob in
Third.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're both 2 and 1. So basically how the rankings go after after they have the same record is just how many points you've scored.
Yeah.
You can see Thomas is at 358, and then Andrew is at 364. So the Bill stacks right in Bobby, then Connor, then Andrew, then Thomas. You had Jacob right, moving him down to 5th. You had me right in 6th. You had Finley right in 7th, and you had Cam right at 0 and 3 in 8th.
Wow.
I'm impressed, man. That was really good.
Yeah, I was wrong on Andrew. I'm super happy that Andrew's 2-1.
Yeah,
awesome.
no, everything's good for him. He's also obviously you get lucky too, so a little bit. So I'll go back to week 3 and we can just look at some of these matchups really quick. So you can see Cam is just dying over here, 106 points. So even I still was able to get him with Cordell and Saquon, but you can see like for example how Bobby over here, he just straight up lucked out this week to be 3-0. Could have easily been 2 and 1 if he played anybody other than Thomas.
Yeah.
I think you're right on the head of just saying that Thomas without Herbert was just struggling.
Yeah.
You can see all the way down the line. I think every player missed their projection.
Yeah, I think Cup probably had his lowest scoring week too. It's just like how the Saints stack.
Yeah, 28, 28, and 14. And the fact that 14's like, down for him is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so Andrew squeaked out the win there over Finley. Connor got a huge week. I mean, just basically exactly what you said earlier, just riding the QBs 41 and 30. Doesn't even need to get much production out of everybody else when your QBs are putting
yeah. Meanwhile, Marquise Brown is a 4th reception game too, so it doesn't hurt at all to have that.
17 receptions. Yeah, like look at this Justin Jefferson 3 points. Like that's just you want more than that. After starting the year 38 points to go to 7 and 2. So yeah. And then the final matchup was was Bobby and Jacob, and Bobby got a little bit, or Bobby and Thomas got a little bit lucky, but all he needed was Josh Allen to do something, and it worked.
It's true. I'm saying with Bobby getting Dak back, and Aaron Jones had a pretty bad game too.
Yeah,
It's
really bad.
a good little stack for sure if that Bills connection works out.
Yeah. And then so if you just want to look at these week 4 matchups, you can kind of say who you're gonna take on each one really quick. It looks like I only have 5 minutes left on my Zoom call, so we'll just run through them.
Run through. Yeah, I think if you put two in, I'll feel more confident picking you on this one, Michael. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Dalvin Cook, isn't he supposed to be hurt, or am I just
I
making
think
that
he's
up?
playing, it looks like.
Oh, he is. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Oh, he practiced fully. Okay. He's still gonna be a little hurt. Maybe not gonna get as many
He's
touches.
legitimately dislocating his shoulder, and they pop it into place, and he plays. It's disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
Obviously, if I can get Tua in there, and anything Tyreek does can kind of get offset,
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Michael on this one. I know it's kind of lazy of me to take the point projection that's right there, but
yeah. We got a matchup between Bobby and so again for Finley and I, it's huge because to go either 2-2 or 1-3 is kind of massive this early in the season. For Jacob, this is a huge matchup because if he goes 1-3, kind of puts him out of it a little bit, and Bobby goes 4-0, it almost guarantees spot in the playoffs. But it is early. But yeah, here's the second.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think that weather is going to be absolute dog shit in Tampa with the freaking hurricane. So I don't really know how I'd feel about having Mahomes and Brady starting. I could be wrong. It could be getting better. And I think this Baltimore Bills game could be an absolute shootout, which I think plays in favor of the triple stack. So I'm going to go Bobby this week.
All right. Bobby moves to 4-0.
Jacob needs a big bounce back game from Justin Jefferson. They'll show like a pulse.
Yeah. Then we have Connor and Thomas both at 2-1. So this is kind of a huge matchup for both of them. I mean, obviously every matchup's huge, but just kind of getting some mojo going. Thomas desperately needs a win. If he started 2-0 and then to go to 2-2 right after that, it's going to be tough. But Connor is very hard to beat.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Connor on it. I think, like I said, kind of going back to the shootout with the Bills and Baltimore, like what I just said for Bobby, yeah, I could see Lamar having a huge week. I'm still kind of nervous about Justin Herbert too. Like he looked pretty beat up last week, and I could see them maybe getting up early on Houston and just running the ball the rest of the way out. So I could see him maybe not having as many pass attempts as Connor would like to see, but I think the great equalizer is Mr. Cooper Kupp. He could easily make anything close. He's that ridiculous, but I think I'm going to go with Connor this week.
All right, Connor's 2-3.
Is Connor not going to play a defense?
He will. He's got the Rams on his bench.
Oh, okay.
And then the final matchup, this is like massive for Cam because you can't go 0-4, but his team is struggling. So Andrew versus Cam, we got Goff against Seattle. At least that's nice. And then you can kind of see all the other matchups. But yeah, it should be interesting.
I think maybe it's a Bengals get right game. So maybe the triple stack pays off. I feel like I'm going to lean into, I got to cheer for Cam. I feel bad. So I need him to at least get out of there. Show like a pulse a bit. Make it a little competitive, maybe get Thomas a little nervous about being the loser in the league. That would always make me happy. So I'm going to lean on, although I love Christian Kirk, and I was talking about the Christian Kirk bump, but I'm going to take Cam this week. Bengals triple stack. Hopefully we get right tonight against Miami and see a lot of points in that game too.
All right. I love it. All right, David, thank you so much for coming on and doing this again. We really appreciate it. It's always kind of fun to get somebody's outside view, and you play in your own league, so you know what's going on, but you were basically right on just from looking at people's teams, which is pretty awesome.
I know. I'm pumped about that. I'm more pleasantly surprised. I got a couple hints of you saying when people weren't playing people, but I think other than that, it's good to see how be that correct.
All right. Well, you take care and have a happy birthday next week.
I appreciate it. Have fun, everyone. It's good. I'm sure I'll see y'all soon. Hopefully the league. What's the punishment? Do you guys know? Is it a spin the wheel at the end of the year? Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Oh,
wheel.
I'm so nervous for y'all. So mine's not as bad. I think the worst one in my league is like going to a Denny's for 24 hours. So, and I'm 2-1 in that league. So hopefully I'm not sniffing the bottom there.
All right. My Zoom's going to run out. So we'll see you later.
All right. Yeah. Bye.